computer had broken. Cool, so let's talk about this. So this is, as far as I'm aware, this is, inside this box is the new CYMA CM009B. Someone on one of the gunman forums brought it up. If anyone's there, if anyone can pop on one of the gunman forums actually and just let them know I'm doing this, the Facebook groups, that'd be really cool. So I got this from one of the guys on the gunman 80s, 90s, or Vietnam Facebook groups said Gunfire had just got some new AEG replicas in from CYMA, some sort of retro line. So I quite quickly got hold and jumped on one. This is the M16a1 style. I'm not going to. I'll keep referring to an M16a1, but it's not really an M16a1. They call it a CM009B. So, and again, I'm going to be picky because I think a lot of people are quite interested about the external quality of these. Yeah, Gaz, I put 50p in the Virgin meter, mate. But we've got no idea. I think these are quite new. So let's. So I got it from Gunfire. It's taken a while because I think the shipment was still coming in from China and also had it downgraded. So there's a few of us now. So let's crack on. So fairly, none of you are that interested in the box, are you? Got a nice Gunfire senior certificate, so they have test-fired it. I also asked for it to be downgraded, so it's doing somewhere between 332 and 335 on a 0.2 gram BB. Brilliant. Very happy with that. Thanks Ben, that's great. I know. Yeah, foam. Standard manual. Gunfire Polish manual. Right. Here we go. Standard caveat supply. I've got dogs and teenagers in the house. Is it well packed? Yeah, it's just decent foam. Cut explicitly for it, so chances are it'll get to you fairly safely. It's black, so it's the wrong colour. Let's get that out of the way. It should be a dark charcoal grey. It's pretty black, not jet black. At least it's matte rather than shiny. But I would have preferred it to be a little bit greyer. It appears a little bit greyer to you guys because I've got quite a bright fill light on. The magazine is a high cap. Disappointing, but it's a £169 gun, guys. So let's not get too upset at them. Don't care about that. Crappy NIM. Get rid of that. There we go, Ben. Look, bag of BBs, mate. Get rid of those as well. Death Charger, get rid of that. Right, so we're down to the rip itself. Box is decent. Okay, here we go. Correct hang, yeah, so I think it's actually got the right stock on. We'll have a look. So this is it. This is this side. One nice thing, completely blank receiver. So if you wanted to add trades, you could do. I really hate it when people put on laser etched bollocks and start engraving stuff. It's a complete nightmare. Really hate it. Okay, let's show you guys here, and then we'll go through some of the specific stuff. Yeah, I'll measure it in a minute, Gaz. We'll see what stock it is. Okay, so from the tip, you can find M16A1s, early ones with the 3-prong. This has got a birdcage, but at least it's got the ports all the way around, so that would be correct for an A1. It's got an A2 front sight post because it's got the bulge. It's not too bad. It's got a square post. Should have a round sight post. Again, it's not the end of the world. If you're getting really picky, okay, fine. That should look more like. So this is my GMP M653. So this is more accurately coloured. So you can see it's a lighter grey, and the front sight post doesn't have that bulge on, and this is like it's better made. This is a completely custom gun. Barrel is pencil, so I have pencil barrel, which is correct. I could mic it up, but it's not. At least it's not a thick barrel. Lots of people put thick barrels on. It does have a gas tube, which is nice. The slip ring's correct. So you find a lot of these with the delta ring, which comes in later. So this is a slip ring which is correct for the period. It's pretty good. Moving back, we have an A1, very A1 upper. We have the teardrop forward assist. Pretty wobbly, but whatever. Yes, Gaz, the front end on the 653 costs more than this gun. So yeah, I'm not going to hold this to upgraded GMP standards, but it's just nice to have this around as a reference. If anyone's got any questions, fire away. I'll try and answer them when I'm here. Okay, so we've got slip ring. Port door's incorrect. You could potentially get away with it. It should have the smaller rectangle rather than the square wedge here. But again, it's one of those things. I'm not even sure this one. My 653 doesn't have one either, but pretty good. We have any? There's no forging marks on here. Again, that's fine. GMP's got some Colt Harvey forging marks on. Quite often, what you find up here, a lot of people in the old classic CAs, classic army, thought it meant classic army. It really wasn't. It was Colt Alcoa was the forge that actually made. Alcoa made the forge. Charging handle locks does the standard kind of lock back and release. Again, it's quite nice for a £169 gun. Hop up is a fairly standard kind of dial type. Again, I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, as you mentioned, teardrop. Yeah, for 160 quid, Sean, it's pretty good. One glaring error, I suspect though it's deliberate. If we look at, so the front of the receiver has the correct kind of 90-degree cut for an A1. This is an A1, so it has the full fencing. Yeah, that notch there. If you look, guys, as Gaz has pointed out, they didn't have this little notch. That came in a lot later. I think I have fired two guns while jumping through the air, but I didn't. When I landed, it wasn't very good. Yeah, so the little notch there shouldn't be there. It does have an A1 pistol grip, A1 style pistol grip. Pretty cool. Again, that's something quite often people get wrong. The sights. It has the A2 ghost ring and tight ring. It can be very hard to show you, but A1 should have the aperture and the rear sight should be the same size. Actually, for airsoft, having a ghost ring, so a bigger ring in the rear sight is probably better anyway. So really not stressed about that. That's probably a wise decision. The biggest glaring thing so far I can see is that the front of the receiver has the 90-degree cut, which is correct. The rear of the receiver doesn't have the A1 receiver style. So this is the A2 back. So the M16A2 M4A1 M4 style back. So what I'm talking about, for those, I'm sure most of you do know, for those of you who don't know, if you look at the back of this one, you can see it's got the It's got this section here, which is for retaining the pin, and it's has a little hard edge here, so it's quite different. And on the other side, again, you have this hard ridge here. Okay. Whereas on this one, you have it filled in. I'm not going to, I think probably, given the cost of the gun for airsoft, I think they've probably, because they've actually got the front right, I suspect they've done this for strength. This is the part on AEGs and the real ones where it breaks. So I think this is probably quite a sensible kind of thing to do. And generally when you're holding it, it's going to be pretty much hidden anyway, and the rest of the gun's pretty close. So bear in mind, for those that just joined us, this is a quick look over the new CYMA CM009B I've just got in from Gunfire, and we're not going to fire it today. We're just literally just looking at the externals, because a lot of people would like a low-cost M16a1-ish gun. So far, really good for the money. Not bang on, but for the money. This was 169 quid from Gunfire, plus some delivery. So really, really good. The stock, okay. Get my classy measuring tool out. So the stock's an A2, which is a shame. Basically, it should be under 10 inches. It's like 10.5, which means it's an A2 stock. I think I've only ever seen GMP do an A1, but again, GMP A1 stock's like 100 quid. So again, I'm not fussed about that. The A2s did have, the A1 did have the fixed rear sling loop and not the swivelly one, and it did have a trapdoor for the cleaning kit. So not too bad. It's rear wired to Tamiya. So, but again, so that's a bit of a shame. But I suspect you'd have to pay, if they had to make a new mould to make an A1 stock, you'd have to pay a lot more. So not the end of the world. For airsoft, obviously I haven't fired it yet. I kind of don't really care if it's rubbish. If it's really bad, that's a problem. If as long as it works and it's reasonably reliable, I really don't mind. If you need, I think fundamentally, if you want an M16a1 for a theme game and you don't have GMP money, if you can get a GMP these days, I mean, like the GMP M16a1 was brilliant, but it was 300 quid, and these days a lot of them come with a flat top with a carry handle, which is like, what? And you might even get an A2 completely A2 lower. So real shame. But again, so this is 169 quid from Gunfire, downgraded. Ben, you've been watching too many videos, mate, just like me. So really, it's a bit dark. The metalwork's a bit dark. Not the end of the world. It's not really black. It's very dark grey. So you could probably claim it was. Being really picky, all the rest of the metalwork should really be the same colour. But again, 169 quid. Right profile barrel. Flash hider's correct. Front sight block is an A2. Stock's an A2. The rest of it, pretty good. And the back end of the receiver's an A2, probably for strength. Does it have any twist wobble between the upper and lower? Not really, no. So the fit is pretty good. There's no real wobble on the front end either. I imagine it will take real. I must say that again. I imagine it will take a real forend. So I'll probably get one ordered from Brownells. These are a bit, as you can imagine, a bit creaky. But that's just like the GMP ones. The GMP forend is rubbish. It's really creaky and horrible. These are Carbine from Brownells Carbine with a heat shield in, which are much nicer. So if you do have a retro Carbine like this, you can get real Carbine forends and they're really nice. Is it metal bodied? Yes, it is. Good point. Yeah, metal bodied. Be a zinc die casting. What's the little loophole on the grip? I think originally they were going to sling it from there, Joe. When they first did it, someone can pop in. Who knows? This is an this. Gaz says the real grip's are way worse. This is an M16a1 grip, as opposed to an M16a2. And the A1s don't have the little finger nub that most people hate anyway, which is here. So it's completely, you can see it doesn't have that little finger nub. And I think originally they were sort of planning on running a sling from the pistol grip. So that's why it had the little hole for a sling loop. Then they ended up very quickly moving it to the stock. The first pattern stocks this moved, then they changed the second pattern stocks with the fixed sling loop. So I'm really happy, let's be honest. I'll be honest. For the money, absolutely brilliant. Metal bodied. Yeah. One thing I'm really pleased about again is they didn't put any trademarks. I think they knew. Obviously, CYMA don't have a cult license at the moment, but I think they knew that if you really care, you'll get your trademarks put on yourself. So that's what I'll be doing with this, getting the trademarks done. Are there any questions while I'm on stream? No, Ben, I'm not going to pop it apart right now and show the gearbox. I need to do a proper range test on it first. How much are they? This was about 160 something quid from Gunfire in Poland. They're not in the UK at the moment. Sorry, Ben, can you say again? No, I'm not going to take it apart for you. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, if you put trademarks on without the appropriate license, yes, it would be a breach of copyright law. So they've done the right thing, as far as I'm concerned. They don't have a cult license. This thing's so long out of copyright, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, absolutely. I think these are great. Obviously, I can't attest to the firing of it. I'll do some stuff in the garden before I do a full video on it. I'll probably do a more formal video for the channel, and I'll go over this in a bit more detail. Oh, good point, Gaz. Yeah. If you're going, you can pretty much do anything you want as long as it's for personal use and you're not going to resell it. So if you want to put trademarks on something, it really isn't an issue. If you then put trademarks on something and then try to sell it on the commercial market, then yes, there would be an issue. If you put your own trademarks on it, it's absolutely fine. No one's going to care. Yeah, D Baron, I don't know what your first name is. If it performs even reasonably well at that price, it's a good buy. Absolutely. It's 170 quid plus postage. Mark, yeah, it feels solid enough, mate. You know, it's not overly heavy. I don't have a scale here. This weighs more, but this has got loads of steel. Just give me a minute. I'm going to find a magnet. I'll be back in a minute. I'll find a magnet and we'll have a look at what's metal and what isn't, what's steel and what isn't on this one. Okay, shorts are by Under Armour, by the way. So magnet. I don't expect much of this to be steel, but we'll find out. Okay, steel flash hider, pretty cool. No, it's probably an aluminium barrel. I imagine this is a nickel die casting. Dust cover is steel. So mainly aluminium and nickel alloy die castings. But again, for the money, absolutely. I mean, that GMP's loads of steel, but as Gaz pointed out earlier, the flash hider steel, yeah, Sean, pretty much, and the port door, pretty much the rest of it is alloy, isn't it? Either nickel alloy or aluminium. But again, we're talking about 170 quid. if you get it from Gunfire. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend buying from overseas. I always recommend that you go to a local store and you buy them, and then you can take it back if there's any issues. However, I really wanted to get this in. Lots of people are quite interested in these. So yeah, so the only glaring errors, and they're not really, it's not, wow, okay. Gaz says the steel flash hiders used to cost 80 quid, so that's half the price of the gun. Hooray! And it's the correct bird cage, so it's got vents all the way around. Sometimes they put the A2s with the closed off ports on these. Whereas this has got the full one. So I hesitate to recommend it because I haven't fired it. But certainly if you're interested and you can deal with some slight inaccuracies like the back of the receiver, the A2 stock, the A2 front sight post, I really wouldn't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it for the money. I'm pretty happy with it for the money. Any questions? So glad to see you guys are having a good chitty chat in the comments. Do we want to have a look at some of the other models in the range that they've done? Because they're quite interesting. So let me no, Ben, it's mine, mate. Let me line up the I do have the CYMA Retro rifles, or do I? Give me a second, I'll just get them online. With you in a second, guys. I'm just sorting out. Okay, so this is Gunfire's webpage, and this is the rest of the stuff they have in their new, I think new CM009 range. Let me just blow this up for you a bit. Okay, so as you can see, they've got a few already. So the one I bought is the CM009B Carbine, the M16a1. Again, they're not calling it an M16a1, they're calling it whatever it is, I think, which is probably a very it's a bit like Arthurian do with their Veteran, which is very nearly an M16a1 but isn't, but they call it a Veteran, so it doesn't really matter. What else do they have? So they've got the B. They did have, maybe it's just not coming up, they did have an earlier one with the 3-prong. So I bought the 3-prong flash hider, and I think it was slab-sided. It was partially slab-sided, so it was the XM16E1, kind of partially way through the program. And I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you the receiver in a second with the 3-prong, so it's more appropriate for early Vietnam loadouts. So this would run for later Vietnam loadouts. I mainly bought this one as well because this will do time periods all the way through mid-Vietnam up to the 90s and possibly beyond. So I could do 90s, 80s, Vietnam, British, US, Special Forces. You know, it's very, very variable. The C sold out, yeah, quite possibly, which was the really early one. Might have sold out already. Came in really fast. Personally, I would get this one. It's much more flexible. This will do you, unless you specifically want a really early Vietnam gun, I would buy this one because these were used in Vietnam. It's perfectly fine for that, and it will do you games for much later as well because these were used by like everybody for a very long time. Some of the carbines are quite interesting. So they effectively do an XM177E2 and an E1. One thing they have done with these is the stock. This will be polymer rather than aluminium, but it doesn't have the reinforcing ribs, which would be correct for the era. It does have a big fat. This is a massive issue for a really accurate replica. It has the M4 handguards on it. Yeah, it is because they're front wired, Gaz. Yeah, they're front wired, and obviously the battery they give you is a big old fat NIM, so you'll struggle to get a big old fat NIM into a slim carbine handguard like this one. So I think that's why they've done it. It doesn't. So you could probably get a slim stick lipo into the slim carbine handguards, but you'd have to buy the slimmer carbine handguards later. But other than that, pretty good. Obviously, the handguards is a big issue if you're really looking for something reasonably period correct. So that's an interesting gun. I think it's, people don't really use NIMs, but that's what they supply. I think it's a bit of a. I would rather they didn't supply a battery and put the right handguards on. I think we'd all kind of think about that really. This is quite fun. Didn't expect this one. This is the 653. Again, we've got the big fat handguards on, but it's 653 or a M16a1 Carbine. So this would be a bit later. This is the gun. I think you guys know this stuff. This is the gun that the sergeants in platoon actually used. Rick, mate, yeah, Rick, it is. But so Rick's asking about the handguards. Again, it's because I think they are they're reusing parts. You can tell that from the A2 stock and bits and bobs and the front sight post on the one I've got. But also they're putting big crappy NIM batteries into the package, like a lot of these kind of cheaper starter guns, and you need big handguards to get it underneath. So a bit of a shame. Thanks. I'm just getting kicked in the back by my greyhound, which is brilliant. That's an interesting gun again, and again the stock. So some stuff's really interesting. They've tooled this stock up with the right angle and without the reinforcing ribs, and then they've put the fat handguards in. So God knows what's going on. So not bad at all, really. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's really nice to see a company doing this sort of thing. So it's a really interesting range. So we've got an E1, XM177E1, XM17E2, an M16A1 Carbine. You've got the M16A1, and you've got this one which is sold out. Was the early, so the XM16s or the XM16E1s with the slab side. Where's the E1? Because this has got a. Yeah, if we look at this is really cool. So this is the receiver that was on the one that sold out, the full length, the kind of XM16E1, and it's got the partially fenced lower on it, which is really cool. Again, they haven't done the back, so it looks like they've done that for strength, but they've put the partial fencing in, and these are actually interesting. These are grayer than what actually turned up. So yeah, got these shots. Yeah, Sean. It's probably related to. So they've tooled up some stuff and not tooled up other stuff, which is really interesting. But yeah, certainly the silhouette is correct. Slim barrel, A1 carry handle, triangle forearm. Brilliant. I think it's really good. For 170 quid. So is it a full barrel? Yeah, one piece. So great. I'm super happy actually. Really, I can't really complain too much about this. They could have bought the tooling off someone else. Yeah, true. You could take the fencing off. Maybe when they come back into stock again, but these are Vietnam correct. So maybe not early, but these are pretty much Vietnam correct. And again, this is a more flexible replica. You can run this for as long as you want. So for those just joining us, I've just been running through my brand new CYMA CM009B from Gunfire, just landed by the UPS man about half an hour ago. And here you go. So let's give you another flyby. Insert Star Wars music. I won't do it for copyright reasons. Has anyone got any questions while you're here? Yeah, Falcons War SES loadouts. Yeah. Scud Hunter. Gulf War Scud Hunter. British stuff up to mid-90s. Yeah, absolutely. So really flexible. You've got 20, probably 30 years. I mean, these are still in service in some, countries out of the way. So super flexible replica, particularly if you do any sort of historical airsoft, retro airsoft. Super flexible. And the A-Team, yes, quite possibly. Colonel Decker's guys. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You can see where they've saved money on tooling, and see where they haven't. But fundamentally, they've done a really good job of these. Why do I think they've bought these out? Is a really interesting question. There's been a lot of, if you watch any of the gun channels on YouTube or follow any of the news, there's been a big resurgence in retro rifles in the US recently. It's just, I think, don't really know why it happened, but a lot of people just got fed up with really guns with loads of stuff all over it, and they kind of went back to the old days. And they're really handy. They're really nice. If you've been running around with a big heavy M4A1 or a L119A2 with a load of stuff strapped to it, running a lightweight carbine is brilliant. Certainly on a skirmish. If you don't need all that stuff all over it when you're just running around, it's great. It's a big resurgence in the States. Brownells did a big retro line, Colt did a retro line, Troy did a retro line. The Brownells retro line's gone crazy. They're really popular. So I think it was only a matter of time, and obviously airsoft manufacturers follow that kind of stuff. So it was only a matter of time before they made one. Yeah, potentially, Gaz. Yeah, they might not know some of the specific details. They might not know that there's a 5/8 of an inch difference between an A1 and an A2 stock, which is all it really is. And they would have the tools, but it's perfectly good enough. Absolutely banging for certainly for my use, to my kind of historical airsoft, retro airsoft bent. Brilliant. I wanted an A1 for a long time. I did pick up the Arthurian one, and the model I sent had an A2 barrel on it, which was just a deal breaker for me. That was it. Done. Not interested. The pencil barrels was super important. Any more questions? Because I'm sort of running out of stuff to talk about. Oh, here's a GMP mag. GMP mid-cap. So that, great, okay. What do you reckon, Dan? I think these are pretty good. So thanks for turning up, guys. Show you the hop up. Okay, yeah. It's the dial type. Very standard dial type. You guys can see in there. I'm not too worried about the internals. I will fire it. I'll probably try and get initial review up, if not this week, early next week. It will just be a more formal overview and some test firing in the garden. So nothing particular. I'm not going to open it up just yet either. I want to get it to the range first and do it completely stock and get a couple of thousand BBs through it before I even think about opening it up. If it sounds like an absolute bag of spanners, I will do something inside it. But magazines wise, you can run the 30 rounds, you can run the 20 rounds. Again, if you're running a Vietnam games, put a 20 in. That's a really classic silhouette. GMP do them, Maras do them, Mag do a set. I don't know how good the Mag ones are. Really good. Not going to recommend it because I haven't fired it, but in terms of external quality for 170 quid, very happy. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been great. Thanks for turning up at 2 o'clock on a rainy Tuesday. No, Ben, don't put E-mags in it. Yeah, working bolt catch on a £170 gun. Someone will bring them into the UK. I'm sure they'll be more expensive, but even, you know, the Arthurian Veteran is £250. So as long as it's around the same or below that, I'll be quite happy with this. So thanks for tuning in. Where's it from? Gunfire, if you've just tuned in. Gunfire in Poland. Yeah. Someone will bring them in at some point into the UK, but at the moment, Gunfire have them. So, great. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to sign off, have some lunch, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe, guys, and thanks for watching.